Hello everybody, Connor here from UFScotland. In this week's league game I was playing Gren, and this is what I've came up with. So, Gren is a 6-hand size character with 30 vitality, has Chaos, Order and Void as the 3 symbols, and has 1 enhance and 1 response. The enhance on a 4 check is you name a card, your attacks get plus X damage, X equals the number of copies of the named card in the staging area plus 1. And the response twice per turn, you can remove 1 card from your discard pile, and after you make a check, that check is plus 1 for each copy of the removed card in your staging area. So let's just straight off the bat show the engine that is this deck. We are playing all 16 copies of Red Eye Capsule. So Red Eye Capsule is an Asimov and Katrina card that allows you to have 16 copies of it in the deck rather than just the standard 4. So it's also got a response, which is after this card is committed already during the enhanced step, this attack gets plus 1 or minus 1 speed, and that is playable while committed. So we also are going to interact a lot of times with that response to make their attacks slower and more blockable, and ours just hit that peak where we're just going to do the aggro damage kind of style thing. So this is the idea. So obviously 16 copies then doesn't really leave us with a lot for other foundations. So the idea is every other foundation in the deck serves a slight purpose, more on a defensive front, but some on the offensive as well, just to balance it out a bit. So, well, I'm moving them away. Obviously, this is the engine stuff. So obviously, I've been looking to try and get about 7 or 8 copies in play. That seems to be the nicest number to have, where you then are able to still use the ones in the discard pile to respond. Seems to work so far. As my test games and my game for the league and stuff went, that was kind of the going idea, and it seems to work out well. So, as I say, the rest of the foundations, we have 2 rewards. So rewards get an enhanced commit 1 foundation, return this attack to its printed damage. So you commit itself and another foundation to return the attack to its printed damage. Usually it means that these big scary attacks, we have a bit of an out where we can actually deal with them. On top of that, obviously we can interact with Red Eye Capsule and then always then give them minus 1 speed as well, making it even easier to block and stuff like that as well, even at its normal damage. So we're taking none, because that is the preference. So that's the kind of idea of this card. As I say, we play 2 because there's a couple other interactions that I like about it, but at the end of the day, it's pretty solid to start nerfing those attacks, especially because a lot of attacks nowadays do get out of control pretty fast. So it's just decent to have a couple of these to be able to see them a bit faster. So, as I say, I play 2 of them. Next card serves the same purpose, but slightly better, I would argue, which is refusing to let go. So, refusing to let go is getting an enhanced commit. Return this attack to its printed damage, and then give it plus 2 or minus 2 damage. So, it does the same as, obviously, reward, but it commits just itself, and it gives it minus 2 as well. So, probably the better of the 2, but as I say, this has unique, so we can only ever see 1 in play. Which is why I have the rewards as well, just to kind of balance out a little bit as well and get a couple extra of them out in field. So that's the idea there. Next card we play 1 Tijuana Groceries. Simply it's unique and it's been pretty useful for most of the games. Obviously we can hack the check with Gren on a twice per turn basis and stuff, but see sometimes sometimes you're only going to be failing by 1 and stuff like that as well. And it's a bit rubbish to then have to hack that check and waste it essentially. So Tijuana Groceries kind of fills this spot. So Tijuana Groceries has got remove 2 foundations in your discard pile from the game, ready this foundation, and that's playable or committed. So obviously whenever we check the other foundations that aren't Red Eye, it's just stuff that we more than likely don't expect to either cycle and see again and stuff like that. We kind of want to be winning the game before we even hit the cycle. So that's the idea. Is literally it's just occasionally you can sort of throw some of them away to ready this up, and just it gives you that bit more control as the game goes on. Next card we play 2 Ridding the World of Outsiders. So I play this simply down to the fact that it's a solid setup card. It's also a nice high block, which I've been using it a lot for. But as I say, it's got an enhanced commit. Your next attack is plus 2 speed and plus 2 damage. When we start going through the attacks and stuff like that, the idea is they're going to get progressively hit harder and hit harder and stuff like that. And as I say, it's a really easy way of just ending the game, basically. Just pumping out that damage pretty aggressively. You could go with 4 copies of it. I just personally didn't find the space for them, and I think 2 still felt that I was dealing enough from it. On top of that, it's got an enhanced flip that's playable well committed, and it gives this attack plus 1 speed, plus 1 damage. So again, overall, it just kind of, essentially to 1 attack, it can give it plus 3, and in most occasions that's going to make things unblockable and stuff like that, or really hard to block, forcing them to commit out, and then we can then do the real damage as we go on and stuff like that as well. So that's the idea behind that one. Next card we play one Lingwei Grandmaster. So we play one of them simply down to the fact we play a little bit of stun, but not enough to warrant a bunch of these. So it's got a once per turn that's commit one sealed foundation in the opponent's staging area. We don't have to use that effect. We are solely looking at the bottom one, which is enhance, commit one foundation. Again, manifestation or red eye for either the speed or to stun them out. And your stun attack gets +2 damage. So as I say, we have a couple of stun attacks in the deck and stuff that will get stun. So it's a nice way just of interacting to give things speed on top of the idea of like the stun attacks getting extra damage. So as I say, that's the idea of that. Again, you could argue there could be space for more of them in the deck. I just didn't find space, and I thought one was seeing it consistently, or not consistently enough, but I was seeing it enough to warrant just having one. As I say, because there's not a lot of other stun in the deck and stuff like that, I didn't want to have too many in case you end up not seeing those attacks. Next card we play Last of His Kind. It's another unique. This one's just here to kind of mitigate a little bit of damage. On top of that as well, it's got Desperation-y. So we're at 30 vitality, so when we go to 14 or lower, we can use the Desperation-y. You just give the attacks +2 damage. So it's pretty decent as the game progresses. If we hit that stage, we're always just getting that extra 2 damage. On top of that, if you lose 2, you give the attack -4 damage to -1. So it's one of those ones just mitigating a bit, take a bit of damage to take a little bit less overall. It's got a deadlocky if you ever get that, if the opponent ever gets that far, which is your attack gets +2 damage. If it happens, well done, like fair enough, like extra damage is extra damage. And as I say, it's unique, so I'm only playing one. Another defensive card I play is Retreating to Antarctica. So again, it's unique, so I'm playing one. It's got an Enhanced Destroy. Before the damage step, if this attack has 3 or more keywords, reduce its damage to 0. So obviously we know the Boogeyman cards like Nutcracker and Scarlet Meteor and everything all floating about. At the end of the day, they've got 3 or more keywords, and they're usually the kind of attacks that go to this kind of absolute scary numbers for damage. And we just kind of say once to one of them at least, nah, let's just avoid that. So as I say, solid defensive card for that. Next card we play one Patriot Stance. Right, I just enjoy this card as it gives some usability for using blocks that are attacks. So it's got, on your opponent's turn, flip, add 1 kick or punch attack from your card pool to your hand. So obviously we can use this as a block, and if they keep swinging we can pick it back up. That's the idea, mainly down to the fact we play like Johnny Cage's Nutcracker, which is a decent breaker, and at the end of the day has punch, so we're able to pick it back up kind of thing. That's the idea. It's also unique, so I'm only playing one. We don't want to rely on these kind of cards and seeing too much of them. Also, once per turn, after you gain vitality, gain another vitality. It's pretty decent if it ever happens. So, next card we play one Curious Magnetism. Again, this is just one of these kind of go-to cards I always like in decks. It always helps me out at least. So on your opponent's attack, commit, switch this attack's speed and damage values. Again, obviously we can hit the speed pretty well and stuff like that, and we can also hit the damage well and stuff like that. So it works out in a nice balancing act where if we just then want to then start hitting the speed, and then we can switch it about kind of thing, and it ends up meaning that the damage is doing so much less. Stuff like that. So that's the kind of idea I've had on this one. Again, it's unique, only playing one, and it's just a nice card when it's out kind of thing. It gives that kind of balance to your opponent playing stuff, because they can't fully like fire in all the damage, because if they can't get rid of that kind of thing, all they know is it's going to then eventually get switched. So it's going to be stupidly unblockable, but we're taking less, and I would rather less than some of these scary numbers getting thrown about. Next card we obviously play 4 Manifestation. So this was the other card I was talking about that interacts well with the deck, with all the kind of committing additional foundations and stuff. Manifestation, after this card's committed due to a stun ability or to pay the cost of your ability, your opponent commits 1 foundation. So again, if we don't want the speed, for instance, to go up on red eyes and stuff like that, we can obviously do this and make them stun foundations, and sometimes that hits their defensive stuff when that's what they're saving up. So this card's obviously a 4 of, it's definitely needed in the deck, and it works stupidly well with the deck. So as I say, we play 4 of them, and it's just simple, especially because it's like a bit of stun hate as well. So as I say, we play 4 of them. So I'm going to fire them up top, and now we're going to go into the attacks. So this is kind of where a lot of stuff's going to make sense with the red eye capsules and wanting a wee handful of them out. So first card I play Katarina's Shot. So I'm just going to move it over, and we play 4 Katarina shot. So this is the 5 diff attack of the attack package as such, but this card works pretty nice with this deck. So it's 5 mid for 5 damage, and it's got, well, this card's in your card pool, your punch attacks get +2 damage. We actually do play a bunch of punch attacks, so overall this card actually benefits the long run of doing extra damage. After that, it's also got an enhance. The enhance on this is commit 2 foundations, then ready 2 foundations that have not been readied this combat phase. So again, if you hit Red Eye Capsule and then ready them back up, you're getting +4 speed overall on all the triggers, making this 9 mid for 5 damage. Now, at the end of the day, that's one of these ones that's just going to force through that extra bit of damage, give you that momentum and stuff like that. It's going to be allowing you to do extra damage, or also make them forced to commit way more foundations than need to. As I say, we have ways of obviously making this damage going up as well. So at the same time as well, it works out where it's just one of these nice cards for the deck, and it works perfectly with all that sort of stuff as well. On top of that as well, something I have been doing is, again, committing 2 foundations and doing 2 manifestations to pseudo stun them by 2 and stuff like that as well, is also just as useful. And then readying up other stuff, like, it works so perfectly. As I say, we play 4 of them, and it is good when they get out. So onto one of the punches we play Bloody Eye Rushdown. So again, this one is it's a punch, so things like Patriot Stance is why we like it. On top of that, it's got ready 1 foundation that's not been readied this combat phase. So this is just one of those ones. It allows us to commit a bunch of red eyes and manifestations, and then ready them up with other attacks, and then just gain speed and stuff and things from them, kind of thing. So that's the idea there. The other one is, if this attack deals damage, commit 1 of your opponent's foundations. Again, if we make this speed fast and stuff like that, and we start interacting well, this does start to get away from people. So it works out really well, and again, it makes them commit. It makes us allow us to commit 1 of their foundations if it deals damage. So it kind of forces a block on some of these, and especially because it's a nice low block that a lot of people are not entirely ready for. So it's pretty decent in that light. So we play 3 of them. Next card we obviously play the other Katarina, Asimov and Katarina card, or Katarina, which is Bloody Eye Rampage. So this one's the 4 mid for 4. It's got your next punch attack is +3 damage. So again, we interact pretty well with punch. Works out well. Extra damage is magic. It's also got a commit 1 foundation. If this attack speed is 5 or greater, draw a card. So again, you commit a Red Eye Capsule, give it the speed. It's now 5 or greater on the effect, and you get to draw a card. That's obviously how it was meant to interact, and it's perfect. It gives us a bit of extra draw. And then at the same time as well, this is the kind of one where you commit that one, your next punch is going to get that, and then you use the other Bloody Eye Rushdown, and then you ready it back up for more speed. It's like, it just works so well, obviously, as it's intended to, and it's working pretty well for this deck. So that is, I say, 3 of them. So next card we play 4 Graceful Rogues. So this card is again one of these ones. This is one of the kind of stun cards. So if you commit a foundation, you can give it stun too, and then we can interact obviously with Lin Kuei Grandmaster and stuff for more damage and more effects that will essentially give it speed or sort of stun them out in addition to this stun too. So that's the idea of this. It is also a solid reversal, which has been working out pretty well. Simply down to the fact, on your opponent's turn, if this attack deals damage, next card you play ignores progressive difficulty. So it helps us out in the long run, especially after we've played a block in itself, and we're starting to clog our own pool, where it works out well when we're not actually affecting ourselves too much. And at the same time as well, we get all these kind of stun abilities and stuff that can trigger from it, and a lot of times it's going to force a block out of it, simply down to the fact that it's 5 damage with potential going to 7 and stuff like that. Off of like Lin Kuei Grandmaster and stuff, just the wee silly things that make it a thing that they have to worry about. As I say, we play 4 of them because it's working out perfectly. Next card we play Gren's actual attack, which is Fallen Star's Revenge. Again, another stun, so this is one of these ones. So this one's really cool for the enhance, and it works perfectly in this deck, as it should do. Enhance, commit 1 foundation. If this attack deals damage, add 1 copy of the committed foundation from your discard pile to your hand. The amount of times that this allows you the extra reach of those red eyes early game is magical. It's so good. On top of the fact that like when you commit that, you're giving it speed and stuff like that, it worked perfectly. Such a good card. As I say, I managed to like put in 3, and I find that's just a decent number for it. And then the last card we play, which is Johnny Cage's Nutcracker. Again, we play 3 of these as well. And here's why we play 2 rewards. So The enhancement on this is seal one of your ready foundations. This attack gets plus X damage. X equals the chosen foundation's printed difficulty. A lot of the times, especially when I've got like refusing to let go out, sometimes I don't overly need reward kicking about, or especially if there's 2 in pool. And giving this the extra 3 damage on top of all the other extra damage gain forces somebody to block a 1 low attack kind of thing. It forces that block early, and it's worked out perfectly. On top of that, stun 2, we have all these interactions and stuff, and it's punch and stuff like that, so it's going to get all the perfect interactions for damage that forces a block out somebody. Again, it's a perfect block as well if we have Patriot stance out for that one time, where we can potentially pick it back up if they continue swinging. So as I say, that is literally the attack package, and it's working out pretty effectively so far, and I've been really enjoying it so far. Now I'm just going to show the 3 assets before we show the kind of obvious actions that we play. So again, this is my go-to card. If you're playing any of these symbols, I'll always preach it. This card should be in the deck. It's an auto include in my opinion, which is Psychic Spirit Glass. So it's got a form remove. Your opponent reveals their hand. You choose one card revealed this way. Your opponent cannot play the chosen card for the rest of the turn. This card ends games at the end of the day. It's just too good. Having that form remove and then having them reveal their hand, it allows you just to plan out your attack run to the point where even it'll force them to do partials. Again, you then pick a card that they can't block with. The amount of games I've hit where they've been holding 1 card in hand or 2 cards in hand, and I've been like, alright, cool, let's see your hand. Cool, let's say like they had a mid and a low, and I'm only rocking the low attacks. I'm like, right, well cool, you now no longer can play that low, for instance. Enjoy taking the partial damage off of these attacks and stuff like that. And it works perfectly. Again, it's one of those kind of cards which everyone always says, it's like knowledge is power kind of thing. And it truly is, especially in this game, and especially when you know their hand going into your attack run. Right, the next kind of staple card, again, Omega Sword and Elk Shield, shouldn't surprise anybody. It's too good a block. This card may block, you may block with this card from the staging area as if it was in your hand. Like at the end of the day, it's not taking up a space in your hand. Awesome. On top of that, or below that, it's after you block with this attack, an attack with this card, that attack deals 1 damage. So it's again throw hate and all these kind of cards that are out there, that are all the boogeyman cards that we don't want to deal with, and we just take 1 damage. It's got a twice per turn that I have still to use, but at the same time, it could be pretty niche play and work in certain circumstances. So you could flip a foundation and then both players commit a face-up foundation. You might be in that kind of like random scenario where you can afford to flip something in order to commit, like a red eye capsule for instance. But at the same time as well, the way we play, the way this deck for me at least plays, you're really not wanting to flip things unless you're really needing the face-up foundations committed on your opponent's field. So it's one of those ones. It's a situational enhance, but it's really there for the block. So next and the last card we play is just too good. Soul Caliber. So revealed at Worlds, and I wish it was revealed before Worlds and usable, because this card would have saved me in most of my matches. It's got a response commit. After a weapon attack is played, seal it. Obviously there's 2 Soul Cal sets out right now, and on top of stuff like that and a bit of Yu Hakusho having a bunch of weapons, there is just a surplus of weapon cards floating about that are all heavily shown in the meta, and one of the best ways of dealing with them is sealing them. Most of these cards just don't work as attacks once they're sealed, as most don't work, and it works out perfectly. Like when somebody plays a blooming Scarlet Meteor and stuff like that and you seal it, or a Forbidden Moon set, all these kind of cards, we just don't want to deal with them, and this is just the answer at the end of the day. Again, the fact as well, it's like we can't use the top response, so who cares about it, but obviously it's infinity symbols and stuff like that, so it's just perfect. It's such a good card. Now obviously we're going to go into the actions of the deck, and we play Punch and Judy, so I'm going to put them both side by side because they do the same but with damage and speed respectively. So Big Shot Judy is remove. This attack gets +3 or -3 speed. You may add 1 copy of Big Shot Punch from your discard pile to your hand. And Big Shot Punch does enhance remove. This attack is +3 speed, +3 or -3 damage. You may add 1 copy of Big Shot Judy from your discard pile to your hand. So again, obviously we're playing into these kind of like ideas of making something really powerful and speedy, using things like Big Shot, Punch and Judy and stuff like that. And top of that, then hitting off with the Gren response that hopefully by the time you're doing it, you've maybe got more than 4 of like red eye capsules in the staging area, tell you that extra damage as well. So at the end of the day, that's the idea. It's actually what a lot of people don't use it for, and the sort of defensive style of playing Punch and Judy is also really good for this deck. Knowing that like you can negative the speed and negative the damage to then pick up probably a better block and sometimes a better on symbol block and stuff. So it's also useful defensively, which I think is something I was using it more for during my games, as I found the enhance on Gren itself when I got set up was doing just the right amount of damage on top of all the interactions for speed, where I generally was able to hold these as blocks and not rely on them as much as a kind of Punch and Judy deck. So as I say, that is generally it. So when we add everything together, it's pretty on point, nearly a 60 card deck on the dot. I think it's just over if I remember rightfully. So let's see, it is a 63 card deck including characters, so 62 cards in deck. So Gren has been a lot of fun to play. Those interactions, as I say, on the enhancing the response and stuff like that, being able to do that with the red eye capsules is a lot of fun. It's definitely a deck I think a lot of people, especially new players, should try, as it gives you a wee in look at random stuff to kind of like show you how other things work within the game. So as I say, that has been the Gren deck, and I hope to see everybody back next week for another random deck from myself and whatever I'm playing for that week's league games. Thank you very much guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.